People always say you never truly know someone until life forces the truth out of them. For Michael Turner, that truth arrived slowly and then all at once. He never expected the woman he married to carry a hidden past that would shake him to his core. But in the beginning, everything looked perfect. Too perfect. Michael was 34 years old, living in a quiet suburb outside Denver, and building the kind of future he always dreamed of: a stable job, a modest home, a simple, peaceful life. And then he met her, Emma Carlisle. She walked into his world like a warm breeze on a cold morning. She was soft-spoken, thoughtful, and carried this gentle confidence that made people feel safe around her. Michael fell fast. He fell hard. Their early days felt effortless. Long conversations in small coffee shops, late-night walks under streetlights, shared laughs over things no one else seemed to find funny. Michael believed he had found the kind of love people write songs about. But what he didn't know, what he couldn't have known, was that Emma carried a secret heavy enough to break the strongest man. Back then, though, everything felt bright. They married in a small ceremony behind his childhood home. Only close friends and immediate family. Nothing flashy, just warm faces, simple vows, and the quiet kind of joy you don't question. After the wedding, life settled into routines that felt comfortable. Morning coffee on the porch, quick phone calls during lunch breaks, movie nights curled under a blanket. But soon, Michael started noticing little things that didn't feel like much on their own, until they did. Emma flinched whenever certain questions came up. Questions about her past, her family, her childhood. She always answered politely, but her smile never reached her eyes. Michael didn't push. Everyone had memories they preferred not to revisit. Still, something felt off. She never talked about old friends, never mentioned anyone from her life before moving to Denver. No social media, no family photos, not even a single childhood memento. She said she preferred living in the present. Michael believed her. Love makes trusting easy. But small cracks began to show. One night, around 10 o'clock, he walked into the living room and found her crying at the edge of the couch. Not loud sobs, just silent, steady tears she tried to hide as soon as he stepped in. She insisted she was fine. Just tired, just overwhelmed. He held her. He wanted to press for answers, but he didn't want to be the reason she pulled away. Still, that moment stayed with him. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months, and slowly something changed. Emma grew more distant, more guarded, more unpredictable. Not angry, not cruel, just unreachable. Like she kept drifting somewhere he couldn't follow. One evening, while they were eating dinner, he noticed her staring at her phone with an expression he had never seen before. Fear. Real fear. When he gently asked what was wrong, she locked the screen and forced a smile. "Nothing, Michael. Just work stuff." But she didn't work in a job that involved emergencies. She didn't have coworkers who called after hours. And most nights, her phone didn't even buzz. He tried to shake the worry. He tried to trust her. But that night, after she went to bed early, he sat alone in the kitchen with a sinking feeling he couldn't shake. Something was coming. Something he wasn't ready for. And he had no idea that by the time he learned the truth, the life he thought he had built was going to collapse beneath him. Near the end of that week, after another quiet dinner and another forced smile from Emma, he stepped outside to clear his head. He stood on the porch, staring at the dark sky, wondering what had changed and why he felt like a stranger in his own home. Inside, Emma watched him from the window, her hand trembling against the curtain. She whispered something he couldn't hear, something that would have told him everything if only he had been close enough. And just as part 1 ends, here is your required line. If you're enjoying this story so far, don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more touching tales. Michael walked back inside, unaware that the truth, Emma's truth, was already on its way to tearing his world apart. Michael woke the next morning with a heaviness he couldn't explain. Sleep had felt shallow, like his mind kept circling something he didn't want to face. Emma was already in the kitchen, moving quietly, almost too quietly, as she prepared breakfast. She greeted him with a soft smile, but it didn't reach her eyes. Lately, nothing did. He sat across from her, watching as she stirred her coffee with slow, distracted movements. "Rough night?" he asked. She shrugged. "Just didn't sleep well." He wanted to believe her, but the distance between them felt like a wall, thin enough to see through, thick enough to stop him from reaching her. After breakfast, she stepped outside to take a phone call. She never took calls outside, and she never stepped away from him like that. Michael stayed by the window, listening to the low hum of her voice. He couldn't hear the words, only the tone, tight, nervous, shaky. When she came back in, her face was pale. "Everything okay?" he asked again, more firmly this time. She nodded too quickly. "Yes, just something I need to handle." Something. Not someone, not work, not a name. Just something. And Michael felt the first real flicker of fear. Later that afternoon, while Emma showered, her phone buzzed on the nightstand. Once, twice, and then again. Michael didn't touch it. He wasn't that type of man. But he did glance at the screen. A single word flashed across the lock screen from an unknown number. "Ready?" His stomach tightened. "Ready for what?" When Emma came out of the bathroom, towel wrapped around her shoulders, she noticed how quiet he was, how still he sat. "You okay?" she asked. He nodded. "Just thinking." She waited for him to say more, but he didn't. And for a moment, it looked like she wanted to tell him something. Something heavy, something she'd been holding on to too long. But then she swallowed hard and walked past him without a word. That evening, Michael went for a drive to clear his head. He didn't have a destination. He just needed air, thought, space. He ended up at a small overlook outside town, the place he used to go when life felt too loud. He sat in the parked car, hands on the wheel, wondering how love could feel so close and so far at the same time. His phone buzzed, a message from Emma. "Where are you?" He started to type a reply, but stopped. Her message felt different tonight, not worried, afraid. Before he could respond, another message came in. "Please come home. We need to talk." Hit him like a cold wave. Not "I want to talk." Not "when you get back." But "we need to talk." He drove home quickly, heart pounding with a mix of dread and hope. Hope that maybe she was finally ready to let him in. When he walked through the door, the house was dim. Emma stood in the living room, hands clasped tightly, eyes red, as if she had been crying. She looked at him like she was bracing for impact. "Michael," she whispered, "I can't keep hiding this from you." He felt his knees weaken. "Emma, what's going on?" She opened her mouth to speak, but the words stuck in her throat. She pressed a hand to her chest, fighting for calm. "There's something you don't know about me, something from before we met, and it's not going away." He stepped closer, slowly, carefully. "Whatever it is, we can face it together." Her breath trembled. "You don't understand. This isn't something small. It's not something you just forgive. It's something that might change the way you see me forever." Michael's heart tightened, but he didn't back away. "Tell me," he said gently. She closed her eyes, gathering the courage she had been running from for far too long. "I wasn't honest with you about who I was," she whispered. Michael felt the world around him still. She looked up at him, eyes filled with guilt, fear, and something deeper, something like sorrow. "There's a part of my life you don't know," she continued, "and tomorrow it's coming for us." The room fell silent. Michael stood frozen, caught between confusion and fear, waiting for the truth he knew would change everything. And then she finally said it. "Michael, I wasn't the woman you think I was when you married me." Her voice cracked, and his heart did too. The full truth was coming. But he wasn't ready for what it would reveal. For a long moment, Michael just stood there. The room felt colder, still, almost fragile. He searched Emma's face, looking for some clue, some hint of what she meant, but all he found was fear, deep, honest fear. "Emma," he said softly, "you're scaring me." She lowered her gaze. Her fingers twisted together, a nervous habit he had seen but never questioned. "I should have told you before we married," she whispered. "Before any of this. I should have given you a choice." Michael stepped closer, slow and steady. "Tell me now. I'm listening." Her voice trembled. "Before I moved here, I lived a very different life. A life I walked away from completely." He swallowed hard. "What kind of life?" She hesitated, then whispered, "One where I wasn't free to decide things for myself." Michael frowned. "Are you saying someone controlled you?" Her eyes flicked up, and for the first time that night, she nodded. "Yes, for years. I belonged to a man who treated me like I didn't matter. I didn't have the strength to fight back then." Michael's heart ached. Not with anger, but with worry. Was he abusive? She shook her head quickly, not denying it, but refusing to label it. "Not in ways people usually mean. He never hit me, he never screamed, but he controlled everything. My job, my friends, my choices, my life." Her breath wavered. "And when I finally left, I cut all ties. I changed everything, even my last name." Michael felt the weight of her words settle over him. "So this man, he was your husband?" "No," she said softly. "Someone I was supposed to marry. Someone my family pushed me toward. Someone who didn't take no well." Michael felt a chill crawl up his spine. "Is he the one contacting you?" he asked. She closed her eyes and nodded once. "He found me after all this time." That answered the messages, the calls, the distance, the fear. "Emma," he said quietly, "why didn't you tell me any of this?" Tears gathered in her eyes. "Because you're good, Michael. You're kind. You believe in people. And I didn't want you to look at me like I was broken." "You're not broken. You're not broken." But she didn't look convinced. She wiped her face and continued, voice shaking. "I left that life behind. I wanted a real chance at happiness. With you, I didn't think my past would ever catch up." She took a breath, then whispered the words that made Michael's stomach tighten. "He's coming to Denver tomorrow." Michael felt the air leave his lungs. "Why?" he asked. She looked up at him, eyes full of dread. "To take me back." Michael felt something rise inside him. Fear, anger, protectiveness, confusion. He wasn't sure. Maybe all of them. "Emma," he said firmly, "you're not going anywhere with him. You're my wife." Her lips trembled. "That's exactly why I'm terrified." A long silence filled the room. Michael reached out, gently touching her hands. "You're safe here." But she pulled her hands back, shaking her head. "No, Michael, you don't understand. This man, he doesn't quit. He doesn't walk away. If he wants something, he takes it." Michael's jaw tightened. "Then let him come. We'll handle it." But the look on her face, pure heartbreak, told him it wouldn't be that simple. "Michael," she whispered, "there's something else you need to know before he gets here." He felt his pulse quicken. "What is it?" Emma stepped back, her face pale and her breath unsteady. "I didn't just walk away from him. I walked away from a life that involved more people than just him. Influential people. People who don't like unfinished business." Michael froze. "Are you in danger?" he asked. She nodded slowly. "Yes, and now you might be too." A cold silence spread through the room like a shadow. Michael opened his mouth to speak, but she held up a trembling hand. "Let me explain everything," she said. "You deserve the truth, all of it." Michael braced himself, knowing whatever came next would change everything he believed about his wife. And the woman he thought he knew. But before Emma could continue, a sharp knock echoed through the house. Once. Then again. Harder. Emma's face went white. "He's early," she whispered. Michael's heart slammed against his ribs as he stared at the front door. The truth wasn't coming tomorrow. It was standing right outside. The knock came again, louder this time. Michael's pulse raced. He moved toward the door cautiously, every instinct telling him to stay calm, to think clearly. Emma followed, clutching his arm. Her fingers were cold, trembling. "He's not supposed to be here yet," she whispered, almost to herself. Michael nodded, glancing through the peehole. A tall man stood on the porch, face shadowed, hands in his coat pockets. He didn't smile. He didn't say a word, just waited. Michael's mind raced. Who was this man, and how far was he willing to go? Emma stepped forward, almost instinctively. "Michael, don't." But it was too late. The door clicked, the handle rattling. Michael shoved it just enough to block it. "Sir, you need to leave," he said firmly. His voice didn't waver, but his heart pounded. The man's eyes flicked toward Emma. Something cold and familiar passed over his expression. Then he tilted his head slightly and muttered, "You shouldn't have left." Emma gasped. Michael looked at her. Her face went pale, lips trembling. "That's him," she whispered, voice barely audible. "That's the man I told you about." Michael's stomach twisted. The anger that rose inside him was mixed with fear for her and for the life they were building together. The man on the porch didn't push further, just watched. He knew Michael wouldn't open the door fully. He knew Emma's fear would betray her. Emma's hands gripped Michael's arm tightly. He won't leave if I don't give him what he wants." Michael shook his head. "Not here. Not with us. We'll figure this out together. I promise." Her eyes filled with tears. "It's not that simple." The man on the porch sighed, like he had all the time in the world. Then he turned slightly and muttered something Michael couldn't hear before walking away slowly. Michael's legs weakened slightly with relief. He closed the door and locked it, double-checked the deadbolt. Emma sank onto the couch, burying her face in her hands. "He's not just a problem from my past, Michael. He's connected to people who don't forgive or forget." Michael sat beside her, wrapping his arms around her. We'll handle it, whatever it takes. I'm not letting anyone hurt you. She shook her head. You don't get it. This isn't about physical danger alone. It's about everything I ran from, everything I tried to leave behind. If he decides to act, it won't just be me. You could get dragged into it too. Michael stayed silent. He wanted to argue, to insist they could face this together, but he could feel the weight of her words, the gravity. They sat in tense silence until a soft buzz came from Emma's phone. I see you. There's no hiding. Be ready. Michael's fists clenched, his jaw tightened. Emma looked at him, her face pale. This is why I couldn't tell you everything before. I didn't want you to see this side of me, or me like this, scared and vulnerable. I thought I could handle it alone. Michael reached for her hand. You don't have to handle anything alone, not anymore. But even as he said it, he felt the weight of the unknown pressing in. He didn't know who these people were, what they wanted, or how far they would go. The room felt colder, darker, as the sun dipped behind the mountains outside. Shadows stretched across the walls like fingers reaching toward them. Michael realized something chilling. This wasn't just Emma's past catching up. It was a storm coming for both of them, a storm they had no map to navigate. Emma's voice broke the silence. Tomorrow, everything changes. And I don't know if we'll ever go back to how things were. Michael swallowed. He wanted to hold on to hope, but he also knew the truth. Life as they knew it was over. The knock on the door earlier had been only a warning. The real reckoning hadn't arrived yet. And deep down, Michael understood something he couldn't ignore. Once Emma's secret fully came out, nothing, not even love, might be enough to protect them from the consequences. He tightened his grip on her hand, silently promising he wouldn't let go. But outside, in the darkening street, someone was already waiting, watching, patient, calculating. Michael didn't know it yet, but their lives were about to be split in two, before the truth and after the truth. And the moment of reckoning was closer than they could imagine. Morning arrived quietly, almost deceptively. The sun spilled over the horizon, painting the sky in soft oranges and pinks, but inside the Turner home, the tension was thick enough to taste. Michael moved through the kitchen with careful, measured steps. Emma sat at the table, hands wrapped around a mug of coffee, staring at nothing. The quiet between them was heavy, filled with unspoken fears. Michael, she whispered finally, breaking the silence, I need to tell you everything, every detail I've kept from you. He nodded. Go ahead, I'm ready. She took a deep breath. Her hands shook slightly. It wasn't just him, she began. When I tried to leave, it wasn't easy. There were people who wanted to see me fail, friends of his, people with influence. I had to disappear, rebuild, and hide. Every choice I made after that was survival. Michael leaned closer. And you've been living with the fear that he'd find you? Emma nodded. Exactly. And when I met you, Michael, I hoped that love could be my safe place, but I was wrong to think the past would stay buried. He reached across the table and took her hands in his. Emma, nothing in the past can change what I feel for you now, but we'll face this together. Whatever comes, we face it as a team. She looked at him, a mixture of relief and despair in her eyes. I want to believe that. I really do. But he's powerful, Michael, and when he comes, he won't play fair. The sound of tires on the street outside made them both tense. Michael moved to the window, peering through the blinds. A black SUV had stopped at the corner of the street. Two men stepped out, moving with purpose, scanning the houses. One of them carried a briefcase. Emma froze. She whispered. "They sent them," she whispered. "They're here to find me, to bring me back. I tried to stop it, but I can't control what happens now." Michael's heart thudded in his chest. "Then we stop them, together." Emma's eyes filled with tears. "Michael, this isn't just about running or hiding. He wants to ruin everything I've built, everything we've built. And if I'm honest, I'm scared of what he might do." He stepped closer, pulling her into an embrace. "You're not alone anymore. Not ever. I won't let anyone take you from me. Not him, not anyone." For a long moment, they stayed like that, holding on to each other, drawing strength from the bond they had built, even through fear and uncertainty. Suddenly, the doorbell rang. Hard, insistent. Michael's stomach dropped. Emma's face went pale. "That's them," she whispered. He moved to the door, glancing at her. "Stay here. Don't move." But before he could reach it, the door swung open. A man stepped inside, tall, confident, and exuding an air of authority that made the room feel smaller. Michael immediately recognized him from the stories Emma had hinted at, the one who had haunted her past. "Emma," the man said calmly, "it's time to come with me." Emma backed away slightly, eyes wide. "I won't go. Not now. Not ever." Michael stepped forward, shielding her. "You heard her. Leave. Now." The man's eyes flicked between them. "You don't understand," he said, voice cold. "This isn't a choice. It never was. But maybe we can make it simple." Emma swallowed hard. "Michael, I can't let him win. I won't." Michael's jaw tightened. "And I won't let him hurt you." The man smirked faintly, realizing the connection they shared, the bond he couldn't break. Slowly, he raised his hands in mock surrender. "You may have something I didn't expect," he said, "but this isn't over. I'll be back." He turned and walked away, disappearing into the street. Emma slumped into Michael's arms, trembling. I thought it would never end, that he would always be there, chasing me. I was so scared." Michael held her close. "It's over, for now. You're safe with me." She buried her face in his chest. "Thank you for not letting go." They stayed together, breathing in the quiet after the storm. Michael knew the past might return, knew life would never be entirely free of shadows. But for the first time, Emma felt a glimmer of hope that she could finally live fully, without fear. Michael looked at her, eyes steady, voice calm but firm. "We're stronger than the past, Emma. Whatever comes next, we'll face it together, always." And in that moment, they both understood a profound truth. Love isn't about never facing darkness. It's about standing together when the darkness arrives. The past had tried to break them, but together they were unshakable. And as they held each other, for the first time in years, they felt free. The future was uncertain, yes, dangerous perhaps, but it was theirs, and nothing could take that away. The story ends with Michael and Emma standing hand in hand, looking out the window at the rising sun, ready to face whatever came next together.